This weekend sees the start of the qualifying campaign for the 2020 European Championships, the 60th anniversary of the competition. To celebrate the anniversary, the competition will not have one host country, but will instead be spread across 12 cities in Europe, from Bilbao, Budapest, Bucharest, Baku, and many more, with both semi-finals and the final taking place at Wembley Stadium in London, England. Qualifying for the European Championships has usually started the September after the World Cup finished, but this time it is starting in March, the year after the World Cup, so that the first edition of the UEFA Nations League could take place between September and November 2018. If you want to find out about what fixtures are taking place in the first weekend of qualifying, I'll be making a separate video, and I will leave a link in the description, or you can click the I button in the top right hand corner. However, in this video, I'll explain how qualifying works for Euro 2020, what the groups look like, who are the favourites to qualify in each group, and how the playoffs will work. With that being said, let's get into the video. The European Championships is an international football competition held every 4 years, along with the World Cup, with the two held 2 years apart. All UEFA countries are eligible to qualify for the tournament. The last Euros was held in 2016 in France, with Portugal beating France 1-0 in the final after extra time. It was also the first Euros with 24 teams in, expanded from 16 teams from previous tournaments, and Euro 2020 will keep the same number of teams. Germany and Spain are the two most successful countries in the competition's history, both winning 3 times, with France winning twice and 7 other countries winning once. So, how does qualifying work? Well, firstly, 55 teams are eligible to qualify for the tournament, with Kosovo taking place in Euro qualifying for the first time. The draw took place on the 2nd of December 2018 in Dublin, Ireland. Teams were seeded not on their FIFA World Ranking, but on their finishing place in the UEFA Nations League. The teams who finished top of their group in League A, which were Netherlands, Switzerland, Portugal and England, were all put in a special Nations League pot. The remaining 51 teams were put into 6 pots, with pot 1 the next highest finishers behind the top 4, and so on, all the way down to pot 6, which were the 5 lowest finishers in League D of the UEFA Nations League. Groups would either have 5 or 6 teams in, with 5 groups of 5 and 5 groups of 6. This means that the 5-team groups will play 8 games each, and the 6-team groups will play 10 games each. These games will take place over 5 international breaks in March, June, September, October and November 2019, with a maximum of 2 qualifying games for one country per break. However, in the June international break, the inaugural UEFA Nations League finals will take place in Portugal. Therefore, Netherlands, Switzerland, Portugal and England will all miss 2 qualifying games to play in the Nations League finals, meaning they could not be put in a qualifying group with 6 teams in. Instead, all 4 countries were drawn into groups A to D first, then the other teams were drawn, with teams from pots 2 to 5 drawn into groups A to D, then teams from pots 1 to 5 drawn into group E, and finally teams drawn from pots 1 to 6 drawn into groups F to J, meaning teams who may be disadvantaged from being drawn in a 6-team group instead of a 5-team group were given an easy country in their group. Restrictions were also made during the draw. Firstly, a maximum of 2 of the 12 host countries were drawn in a group to give them all the best chance of qualifying. Political clashes were avoided, and a maximum of 2 countries with a high or medium risk of severe winter conditions were drawn in a group. Finally, a maximum of 1 pair of teams identified with excessive travel distance in relation to other countries were placed in each group. These are what the groups look like after the draw was finished. I will go over each group and say who I think may qualify from each group in a few moments. The top 2 teams from each of the 10 groups will qualify for Euro 2020. If 2 or more teams are equal on points on completion of the group matches, the following tiebreaker criteria are applied. Firstly, the team with a higher number of points obtained in the matches played amongst the teams in question will finish higher in the group. If that is equal, then the next criteria is which team has a superior goal difference in matches played amongst the teams in question, and if that is the same, it goes down to goals scored and away goals scored in matches played amongst the teams in question. Several other criteria is used, all the way down to the position in the UEFA Nations League overall ranking, which is the final tiebreaker. That leaves 4 spots left in the tournament, which is where the UEFA Nations League comes into place once again. 1 team from each league in the UEFA Nations League is guaranteed a place at Euro 2020. 4 teams from each league who fail to qualify for Euro 2020 via their group will compete in the playoffs of their league, which will be played in March 2020. The playoff spots will be first allocated to each group winner in a league, and if any of the pool winners have already qualified for the European Championship finals, the next best ranked team in their division will receive their spot. For example, Luxembourg would get the playoff spot for League D if one of the 4 group winners were to automatically qualify. If there are less than 4 teams in a league who fail to qualify automatically, which is likely to happen in League A, then the best ranked teams from the leagues below who don't already have a playoff spot will be put in their league instead. In each league, the best ranked team will host the 4th best ranked team, and the 2nd best ranked team will host the 3rd best ranked team in the semis, with the 2 winners playing in the final to decide which country goes to Euro 2020. The host of the playoff final in each league will be decided by a draw. The winner of the playoff final in each league will qualify for Euro 2020, meaning all 24 spaces for Euro 2020 will have been filled. Now we know how the teams can qualify for Euro 2020, let's take a look at each group individually and see who are the favourites to qualify. In Group A, we find 2018 World Cup semi-finalists and UEFA Nations League finalists England, who should be looking to win this group, although they do have a playoff place guaranteed in case they have a disastrous qualifying campaign. Kosovo also have a guaranteed playoff spot at worst, and despite winning their Nations League group, I would be surprised if they didn't finish last. Czech Republic, Bulgaria and Montenegro are the 3 teams who will be fighting for the final qualifying spot along with England, but neither of the 3 countries have a guaranteed playoff spot, although Bulgaria are the first reserves in League C who may get a playoff spot if Scotland, Serbia, Norway or Finland qualify automatically for Euro 2020. Bulgaria managed to beat Sweden and the Netherlands in 2018 World Cup qualifying, so they could spring a surprise. Bulgaria hosts Czech Republic in the last game of the group, and it could go down to that game to decide which of the 2 countries go through. At the moment, I would predict England and Czech Republic, but don't write off Bulgaria. In Group B, we have the winners of the last Euros, Portugal, who one of 3 teams along with Ukraine and Serbia to be guaranteed a playoff place at least. So at least 1 team from this group will be in the playoffs at worst. This will make it very hard for Lithuania and Luxembourg, with the former team being relegated to League D in the Nations League in November. Despite being in the lower league, Serbia actually have the lower odds at some bookies than Ukraine to win the group. Serbia did qualify for the 2018 World Cup, winning their group with the Republic of Ireland, Wales and Austria in, compared to Ukraine, who finished 3rd behind Iceland and World Cup finalist Croatia. Once again, Serbia host Ukraine in the last game in the group, so it could all go down to that game, and I will go with home advantage. So I predict Portugal and Serbia to go through. In Group C, we find the Netherlands and Germany, who have had contrasting times recently. Germany have been to the semis or better in the last 3 Euros, and they won the 2014 World Cup. However, they were knocked out in the group stage of the 2018 World Cup, and they were relegated to League B of the UEFA Nations League. On the other hand, Netherlands have failed to qualify for the last 2 major tournaments, after finishing third in the 2014 World Cup. However, they recently topped their Nations League group, which contained Germany and 2018 World Cup winners France. They have one of the best defenders in world football in Virgil van Dijk, and their club side Ajax beat Real Madrid 4-1 at the Bernabeu and 5-3 on aggregate to reach the quarter-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Netherlands and Belarus are guaranteed a playoff place at least. Belarus will be looking at the playoff as their best chance in qualifying for a major tournament. Northern Ireland and Estonia were both relegated from their respective leagues, and despite Northern Ireland reaching the last 16 in 2016, they will be fearing the worst. I predict both the Netherlands and Germany will go through. Both countries are also host countries, so they'll be wanting to qualify for that reason as well. In Group D, we find Switzerland, who beat Iceland 6-0 and Belgium 5-2 after being 2-0 down to top their Nations League group. They are one of 3 teams, along with Denmark and Georgia, to have a guaranteed playoff place at least. Both Switzerland and the Republic of Ireland reached the last 16 of Euro 2016, although the Republic of Ireland were recently relegated from League B in the Nations League. Republic of Ireland v Denmark is once again the last game in the group, so it could all go down to that. Denmark beat the Republic of Ireland in a playoff to reach the 2018 World Cup, where they lost on penalties to Croatia in the last 16, and they topped the Republic of Ireland's Nations League group as well, although both games were goalless draws. Denmark and the Republic of Ireland are both host countries at the tournament as well, which may add even more pressure. I predict that Switzerland and Denmark will go through, but I would like the Republic of Ireland to automatically qualify, and with both Switzerland and Denmark having the playoff place as a backup, it could make them play more risky football, which could succeed, but could backfire as well. Group A is one of only 2 groups with no team guaranteed a playoff place, so it's all to play for. 2018 World Cup runners-up Croatia will be looking to qualify, although all 3 of Wales, Slovakia and Hungary qualified for Euro 2016, with Wales and Slovakia featuring in the same group. Azerbaijan are also one of the 12 host countries along with Hungary, so they will be both trying their hardest to qualify to play in a game in their home country at a major tournament. Unfortunately for them, I predict neither will qualify from the group. Croatia will top the group, I think, and I predict Wales to finish second, although it could go down to their last game at home to Hungary to confirm it. Group F is the first of the 6-team groups, and it contains 2008 and 2012 winners Spain, who are also hosts along with Romania. Sweden and Norway also have a guaranteed playoff spot at least. Spain should be fine in this group, and I expect them to qualify, and I think either Sweden or Norway will join them. Sweden reached the quarter-finals of the 2018 World Cup before losing 2-0 to England, and won their Nations League group as well. Norway also won their Nations League group and are managed by Lars Lagerbäck, who is Swedish and was the manager of Iceland when they beat England in Euro 2016, and they won 8 out of 10 games in 2018. Both teams have a guaranteed playoff place at least, so they can go for it with no fear, and I expect it to be close. But I think Sweden will join Spain in finishing in the top 2. In Group G, only Macedonia have a guaranteed playoff place at least, although it is very unlikely they will be challenging for a top 2 place. Both Poland and Austria qualified for Euro 2016, with Poland reaching the quarter-finals before losing to eventual winners Portugal, and Austria failed to get out the group stages. Poland also made the 2018 World Cup, although they finished bottom of their group. This is one of the weaker groups in the qualifying phase, with no standout team, but I predict Poland and Austria will have enough to get past the rest of the teams, with Israel having an average Nations League campaign and Slovenia being relegated from League C. Group H is the second group with no team guaranteed a playoff place. It also features 4 teams who qualified for Euro 2016, France, Iceland, Turkey and Albania. As World Cup holders, it would be a massive surprise if France didn't qualify, and I fully expect them to. In terms of second place, however, Iceland, Turkey, Albania and Andorra all finished bottom of their Nations League group, and Moldova only finished above San Marino in their group. The betting odds suggest it'll be between Iceland and Turkey to grab the second place, which I agree with both teams playing each other in the second to last game in the group. Betting odds actually favour Turkey over Iceland, probably because Iceland may be on a decline after a great few years, but as an England fan, I have learned to never underestimate Iceland, and I think Iceland may just have enough if they can get some form back to finish second behind France. Group I contains two host countries in Russia and Scotland, with Scotland the only team guaranteed a playoff place. That playoff for Scotland could be their best chance of qualifying for a major tournament since 1998. However, in the group, it is hard to look past Belgium and Russia. Belgium finished third at the 2018 World Cup and would have finished top of their Nations League group had they not collapsed against Switzerland. As for Russia, they impressed as hosts at the World Cup, beating Spain on their route to the quarter-finals before losing to runners-up Croatia on penalties. They just missed out on promotion to League A of the Nations League as well, and will probably fancy their chances to finish second, so I predict Belgium and Russia to qualify. Russia as well are the first reserves in the playoff in League B, so even if they don't finish in the top two, it is likely they could have a playoff spot anyway. Finally, Group J sees both Bosnia and Finland have a guaranteed playoff place at least. The group also contains the 2006 World Cup winners Italy and Greece, who were the shock winners of Euro 2004. Italy are one of the hosts of the Euros, and I expect them to qualify, despite missing out on qualification for the 2018 World Cup and not having the best Nations League campaign. Bosnia were also the best performing team in League B, getting 10 points out of a possible 12 and conceding just one goal, so they are looking in good form to qualify too. Finland and Greece are the two teams who would most likely challenge, and they were both in the same Nations League group, which Finland won, although Greece beat Finland in their most recent fixture. However, I expect Italy and Bosnia to qualify. So, there is my guide to all the qualifying groups for Euro 2020 and how qualifying works. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and if you have any other questions as to how qualifying works, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know who you will be supporting and which teams do you think will go through in each group, and if there are any teams you think will underperform or overperform. Finally, if you're a gaming fan, check out my two gaming channels, Seabury Plays and FC Seabury. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.